This is WVOT News This Morning.
Well, a good Wednesday morning to you. Thanks for being here. I'm Casey Wheelis.
And I'm Harry Sullivan. We want to get right over to Chief Meteorologist Heather Haley tracking a WVLT First Alert weather morning today. Heather, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, and really a few different things to keep in mind. Let me show you. First off, if your car sat out overnight, the first thing you have to deal with is, well, walking to your car. If you got a couple of steps coming down from your house, guess what? Those can be icy because of freezing fog. Then you've got a thick layer of frost on your car from a cold overnight that's been very, very still. The frost is thick and that freezing fog, again, adding into that kind of glaze of ice. I had to work a little hard to get that frost off my windshield. A few extra minutes of driving time, absolutely, especially when there's more folks on the roads. It's a little harder to see in the dense fog, and then when there's more people out and about, that just adds in. If somebody starts losing traction up ahead of you, you want to make sure you've got a safe distance there. So it can be hard to see, but there are also those slick spots. There's icy spots on the roads, especially back roads and hills, bridges and overpasses. I had a viewer, Lane, actually said that there's definitely some icy spots, some patches of black ice in the Farragut area, West Knox County. So let me know if you're seeing some spots as you get out, just like kind of that forecast confirmation here this morning. As we do absolutely have frost scraping time to start, extra time for your morning commute really is very helpful this morning, as temperatures are cold enough, right? It's deep freeze at this point in parts of our area. It's 26 really is what we're dipping to again in the Knoxville area over the next hour. So as we get out the door, you also have to give yourself the extra time for fog. Look at these current visibility readings. 0 Athens, up and down visibility. Loudon, Monroe drops off again. Knox, Blunt, severe. Anderson, Union, Campbell County, up and down. Northeast Tennessee drops off again. So just don't let that trick you into thinking, oh, it's not too foggy at my house. It doesn't mean there's not a glaze of ice on a bridge down the road, because it has been foggy, or it still is. So just use that caution, because it's 28 right now in Knoxville. It's 18 in Crossville, 13 even in Monticello, 32 Rogersville to 29 Hartford. We're all cold enough for the freezing fog, some even more. We'll talk more though about when this clears and what the rest of your week is looking like coming up here in about 15 minutes.
Heather, thank you. It is 6:02. We do want to get a check of your traffic. First, taking a look at that road weather index. Just like Heather just said, 0 miles of visibility down in Athens. And remember, just because fog isn't showing up where you live, it's still freezing out there. Bridges, overpasses being affected. The roadway's not looking too bad in Knoxville, but you can see Knox County covered in that heavy, dense, frozen fog. Let's check in with Sherry Bigler, see what she sees. Good morning, Sherry.
Good morning, Harry. And this fog is moving around. In fact, we're seeing fog getting heavier in some places, getting lighter in other places. Just a few minutes ago, it was very heavy. Here at Mississippi Parkway at Dutchtown Road, you can see quite a bit of light in that area. You cannot see a whole lot of detail, but I can tell you there are still some cones up there from some road work from overnight. They are in the process of getting those out of your way. Now I want to take you over to that 640 loop, 640 at Broadway. You can see here that the fog is not too bad at this time, but it is all around this area, and we're watching it shift back and forth. Get out just a little bit early, give yourself some extra drive time. 441 across the Smoky shut down. And remember, anytime we've got fog like this and very cold temperatures, you've got the potential for that black ice, especially on bridges and overpasses. Sherry Bigler, Pilot's co-pilot. Good morning.
Sherry, thank you. Well, more doses of the COVID-19 vaccine should be headed to Tennessee soon. The Trump administration says it will stop holding back those second doses of the COVID-19 vaccines. Officials are also announcing new vaccine distribution guidance. Officials say they are sending states all available doses, practically doubling the supply. They were holding back second doses for people who got their first shots, but they say they have confidence that manufacturing will be able to produce more. This is the same approach President-elect Joe Biden announced Monday.
We always planned to move to a more advanced phase of how we manage this once we had confidence in our supply chains.
Federal health officials are also asking states to start vaccinating people older than 65 and others at high risk. And with only about 9 million doses administered to date, they are warning states to pick up the pace or they will get less vaccine. This as another new variant is detected in Japan. And here's what you need to know about COVID here in East Tennessee. The state says so far only about 50% of the vaccine received has been given out. If you live in Tennessee, you can sign up at any health department, so you might be able to get the vaccine earlier outside of your home county if you are eligible. And new cases and hospitalizations are slightly down in our area. And we talked about that new variant in Japan. Well, Moderna Moderna says anyone who gets 2 doses of their vaccine will be immune for a year. The company expects to deliver between 600 million to 1 billion doses of its vaccine this year. The drug maker says it is confident that its vaccine will be effective against the new mutation of COVID-19. And the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention wants to know if you have side effects after you get your vaccine. You can use your smartphone to tell the CDC about your experience. The program is called VSafe. Depending on your answer, someone from the CDC may call to get more info. And VSafe will also remind you to get your second COVID vaccine dose.
Well, the IRS says after initial problems, it's getting more of the second round of stimulus payments out to taxpayers. A number of people who filed their taxes with an online preparation service initially found that their payments didn't make it to them directly. The IRS and those companies say they've been working diligently to resolve the issue and have or are in the process of reissuing payments to affected taxpayers. Airbnb unveiling its capital safety plan ahead of President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration next week. The company reviewing D.C. area reservations and working with Metro Police to run background checks. Airbnb will ban anyone confirmed to be a part of the riots on Capitol Hill or associated with a hate group. It also warned of legal actions should users violate its policies. Well, the U.S. has executed its first woman in nearly 70 years. Elisa Montgomery died by lethal injection at the Federal Correctional Complex in Indiana early this morning. The Supreme Court denied her attorney's argument that she received a competency hearing. Montgomery was sentenced to death in 2008 by a Missouri jury for the 2004 murder of a pregnant woman. She cut out the woman's infant and took it. That baby did survive.
Well, hundreds of products